Mr. President, one of the amendments that will be offered is an amendment that I have introduced regarding a major crisis in this country that we just don't talk about enough, and that is the frighteningly high rate of youth unemployment in America. Mr. President, I am delighted that the Elementary and Secondary Education Act is on the floor for debate today, and I want to thank Senator Alexander and Senator Murray for their hard and constructive work on this important legislation. I can tell you that in my state of Vermont, we have held town meetings on No Child Left Behind, and the people of Vermont want to leave No Child Left Behind very far behind. They want to get rid of it. They feel that it has not been productive for our kids, and I think that sentiment exists all over the country. And if we go forward on this legislation, I think we will be taking a very important step forward for the children of America. But, Mr. President, when we talk about the needs of our young people, it is not just a dysfunctional child care system that we talk about, and the need to make sure that working families all over this country have good quality, affordable child care. It is not simply that college is increasingly unaffordable for millions of working class families. It is not just that the United States of America tragically and embarrassingly has the highest rate by far of childhood poverty of any major industrialized country on earth. We talk about the future. We talk about family values. But the truth of the matter is that we have significantly ignored the needs of our children, and that is not what a great nation does, not a nation that looks forward to the future. Mr. President, this country has got to come to grips with the reality that we have not a high rate of youth unemployment, but a tragically high rate of youth unemployment in this country. This is an issue that we don't discuss. It is literally swept under the rug. We have got to bring it out in the open. We've got to discuss it, and we have got to address this issue. Mr. President, last month, the Economic Policy Institute released a new study about the level of youth unemployment in this country. This study took a close look at census data on unemployment among young people between 17 and 20 who are jobless, those who are working part-time when they need a full-time job, and those who have given up looking for work altogether. The results of this study should concern everybody in our country and every member of the United States Congress. And by the way, I have mentioned these facts in the past. PolitiFact, who seems to check every statement that I make, checked it out, and what they said is these facts are basically accurate. And here is what the Economic Policy Institute found. From April of 2014 to March of 2015, the average real unemployment rate for young white high school graduates between the ages of 17 and 20 was 33.8%. High school graduates, high school dropouts, white, 17 to 20, 33.8%. The jobless figures for Hispanic kids in the same age group was 36.1%. And incredibly, the average real unemployment rate for African American high school graduates was 51.3%. High school graduates or dropouts between the age of 17 and 20, African American, over 50% unemployed or underemployed. Mr. President, today in America, over 5.5 million young people have either dropped out of high school or have graduated high school and do not have jobs. It is no great secret, not to any parent, not to any member of the Senate, that when kids are not in school, when kids have no jobs, that is when kids get into trouble, when they get into drugs, when they get into self-destructive activity. And the results of kids not being in school, kids not having jobs, is that tragically today, we in this country have more people in jail than any other country on earth, including China, a communist authoritarian country with a population 4 times our size. We have more people in jail than China does. Incredibly, over 3% of our country's population is under some form of correctional control. According to the NAACP, from 1980 to 2012, the number of people incarcerated in America quadrupled from roughly 500,000 to 2.2 million people. A January 2014 study published in the journal Crime and Delinquency found that almost half of black males in the United States are arrested by the age of 23. That is an unbelievable statistic and a tragic statistic. And if this current trend continues, 1 in 4 black males born today can expect to spend time in prison during his lifetime. What a tragedy this is. We cannot ignore it. We have got to deal with this reality. But this crisis is not just a destruction of human life and of potential. It is also very, very costly to the taxpayers of our country. In America, we now spend nearly $200 billion on public safety, including $70 billion on correctional facilities each and every year. Mr. President, it is beyond comprehension that we as a nation have not focused attention on the fact that millions of young people are unable to find work and begin their careers in a productive economy. That's what young people want to do. They want to get out, they want to get a job, they want to earn some money, they want to become independent from their parents, they want to begin a career ladder. But for millions of these young people, that is not taking place today. And let me be as clear as I can be, and that is, it makes a lot more sense for us to invest in jobs and education than more and more incarceration and more jails. The time is long overdue for us to start investing in our young people, to help them get the jobs that they need, to help them get the education that they need. This is not only saving human life, it is saving dollars. It is a very expensive proposition to put people into jail. And many of the people who go to jail come out of jail, they go back to jail. They don't get jobs, they don't pay taxes. Their lives are destroyed, their families' lives are destroyed, and it is high time we understood that. We've got to invest in jobs, we've got to invest in education, not more jails, not more incarceration. Mr. President, I have offered an amendment which will be voted upon either today or tomorrow, which is pretty simple and pretty straightforward. It says to us, now is the time to keep kids out of jail, to get them jobs, to get them education. This amendment would simply provide $5.5 billion in immediate funding to states and cities throughout the country to create 1 million jobs for young Americans between the ages of 16 and 24. This amendment would also provide job opportunities for hundreds of thousands of young adults. Frankly, this amendment doesn't go far enough, but it is an important start in trying to save the lives of countless numbers of young people who, if we do not address their needs, are going to end up in jail with destroyed lives. Specifically, under this amendment, the U.S. Department of Labor would provide $4 billion in grants to states and local governments to provide summer and year-round employment opportunities for economically disadvantaged youth with direct links to academic and occupational learning. This amendment would also make sure that young Americans have access to transportation and child care services they may need in order to participate in job opportunities all over this country. This amendment would also provide $1.5 billion in competitive grants to local areas to provide work-based job training to low and moderate-income youth and disadvantaged young adults. Mr. President, I would hope very much that we could have bipartisan support for this amendment, because what we are talking about is not just saving countless numbers of lives, not just saving taxpayers substantial sum of money. because it is much more cost-effective to invest in kids so they have productive lives rather than seeing them go into jail and into jail and into jail and see their families being destroyed. It is high time we address this issue. This amendment is an important first step, and I would look forward to seeing bipartisan support for it.